Dr. Kemi, part 3. In concluding my investigation, I feel that some people need to be arrested, detained, interrogated again. But instead of that, they've decided to subpoena them into the inquest. First of all, in America, in Canada, we rarely do inquests. Let me leave Canada alone. In America, the coroner is the medical examiner. Once they do that autopsy, they know what killed the person. To be sure that it's not something they ingested, drank, or ate, they wait 6 weeks for the toxicology test. That's how it's done in America. That's how I've always known it as done as a journalist, and I've done a lot of crime reporting and things. Now, the British like to do inquests, okay? Nigeria likes to copy the British system. And Falana brought this inquest into it. If you notice, Falana always finds a way to open the case wider so he can get the people that he wants prosecuted. He did that with Oromoni, and look what happened at the inquest. It worked against him. Now, this one, he brought an inquest in, put his wife as the one in front, and when his wife did a bunch of shit, he now took over. He banned journalists from inside the courtroom, and the public were there with their phone filming. Imagine. So the journalists don't really hear the details of what they should hear until the lawyer or somebody comes out and tells them after the court ends. That's why I had my own interns in there, okay, as part of the people filming and all that. That's why I've been able to give you this good coverage. Now, tomorrow is the inquest. I don't have anyone to cover it because I'm closing the case today. We've disbanded everybody. I think to my interns, it was a year worth of work and $10,200, okay? And you guys donated about $2,300 out of that. A lot of that money was my money. I did it with passion, okay? I'm flat broke now, all right? So I'm telling you, the work we did to bring you this coverage was, outstanding. Now, tomorrow's inquest is going to be Naira Marley, Sam Larry, Felix, and the nurse. So it's going to be a busy day. The nurse is going to testify. Felix is going to testify. These ones are testifying, like the first time. And Felix is the one you saw driving the car. He was the one that drove that car that they rented for the concert and brought them back. Felix will have to say what he heard. Inside that car, Felix will have to say activities that happened inside that car. The Prime Boy fight with Mohbad. Felix will have to say when they got home, how Prime Boy went on his own and didn't follow them home. He has a lot to say. The nurse has a lot to say about coming from Cotonou. Everybody was given bail. And you remember when Yabo, said she's going to protest at the police people. The police told her not to bring a protest here. The case is out of her hands. It's in the DPP. Apparently, the DPP has not done anything since November when Yabo tried to go to the police with a protest. That is the Director of Public Prosecutions. In America, we call that the prosecutor. That's the person that will determine who is going to go to criminal court, who's going to be charged to criminal court. Now, that person might be rearrested and then given bail to be at home and come to court from home. These things are very lengthy in Nigeria. Trials in America could take like months, but it depends. This is an easy one. But Falana drags it by taking it to an inquest, which we don't do in America. In the UK, they do it. The medical examiner does his job, tells the cause of death. They took an autopsy in September, and they took a toxicologist to America. It can't be heard. Even Americans are laughing at us. A toxicology test takes 6 weeks. Okay, Mohbad'S own took 8 months. And then they released everything. Upon all that, the wife never said a word. If you cared about your husband, you didn't even speak to the media. You didn't criticize what you saw. The mother of the victim didn't say a word. The mother and the wife didn't say a word. All they were doing was fighting over his property. So, they're not ready over there. And they just, really full of bullshit. Everybody was discussing. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry was discussing property fights on TikTok and making money and just... The Nigerian police let people rubbish this case to the point of no return. So what they need to do tomorrow is we have to hear from Feisha Ayogide, the auxiliary nurse, who invited her and for what. Tomorrow she'll say if Wumi invited her. Because according to one of my witnesses, a neighbor of Mohbad, they said all of them were out there. You heard Yomi say the same thing too. All of them were out there, 15 people in the house. They were all out there crying. Because when that nurse arrived, the nurse said everybody was crying outside. It's as if Mohbad had already died, Seth. He was bleeding so heavily. They had a duvet around here, the bloody duvet. The father saw it. They had no explanation for the father. They had Mohbad on the ground. And then when the nurse came, they had to lift him into the bed. And remember, 4 people in there were telling me all this. And then they started the drips and, all that stuff. Faye has to tell us what she came to treat. Was it a hand injury or a stab wound to the back of the neck? So that's very important tomorrow. Sadly, I won't be able to cover it because I've closed the case and I'll be watching it like you. And I've, of course, disbanded my interns. We have no money left. You guys didn't donate. You didn't do anything. So it's like, it becomes a story of who sent you. You don't understand how independent journalists work. So I need to leave that stuff alone and move on with my life. I told you I'm changing my name. I'm moving to a new continent and I'm just fading away. So it's like, don't worry about me. I'm done. I just try to put my mouth in things I have to say about Nigeria because opinion journalism was one of the biggest things. Though I've retired in it, I just want to be doing my hobbies and digital content now on social media. My hobbies are aviation, evangelism, and of course cooking. So back to Mohbad. So Feishayo, is a witness, all right, and we need a lot from her. DJ Mami is a witness. Feisha sent her to the pharmacy each time. And she, he may not know what he went to buy. He may be holding a piece of paper to the pharmacy. But the pharmacy may need to be subpoenaed to the inquest. And this is something no one has done. Nobody has mentioned the pharmacy. The pharmacy needs to be invited to the inquest because remember the video I did 2 days after Mohbad died? I said NAFDAC is complicit to the death of Mohbad. Why is NAFDAC complicit? Because NAFDAC has really never regulated pharmacy. What would make a young man go to the pharmacy was a list of injectables sent to the pharmacy by a nurse and given without the prescription, and they just buy it. Who are the pharmacists that sold that? Or if it's not a pharmacist, who is the pharmacy staff in that pharmacy near Mohbad's house that sold those drugs? So the pharmacy needs to show up at the inquest too, if they're going to do inquest forever. Okay, everybody's complicit to what killed Mohbad here. When you're saying what killed Mohbad, a death certificate should read, Mohbad died of, at least what the police told us, via the pathologist, an anaphylactic reaction due to the administration of ceftriaxone, which he reacted to, secondary to a stab wound. And that's what they don't want to put. It is secondary to, that's causation right there. You need to know about causation. It's used in law a lot. So Google causation, C-A-U-S-A-T-I-O-N on Wikipedia and go and read it. It's under law. Causation. An American man whose mother had stage 4 cancer, dying in pain, wanted to end his mother's misery and poisoned her tea so that when she drinks the poison, she's just die in peace and go. Now, what happened the next morning is the mother actually had a heart attack. When they did the autopsy for her, what caused the cancer is not what killed her. Okay, the heart attack killed her, secondary to a complication with the cancer, not what caused it, a complication with the cancer. So it wasn't the poison that even killed her. The poison had not activated. But inside her system, the autopsy showed there was some kind of poison. So they thought she tried to poison herself. The woman herself put the stuff or whatever the sniper or rat poison is into a drink and drink it so she can kill herself. Sadly, there was evidence that she didn't do it herself and that her son did it. And that information came through the fact that her son opened his mouth and told someone. And that person said, he poisoned his mom to relieve her. And they arrested the son. Son confessed, got 1 year in prison. But they knew that it's not what. So her death certificate read a heart attack, secondary to cancer. If the poison had killed her, it was here a heart attack secondary to poison. So I wanted you to know what secondary to means. So Mohbad's death is, first Mohbad died from, Mohbad's death has to be a homicide because this is the reason why Feisha has to do at least 2 years in prison for manslaughter because she administered drugs. You can't administer drugs. Even Michael Jackson's doctor did 2 years. You can't administer drug under circumstances that you weren't supposed to be practicing because she was not supposed to be practicing as an auxiliary nurse. So she should get 2 years there. I'm telling the prosecutor, I'm going to continue on part 4.